nice.
Started planning that this month.
You're getting busy,
Yeah.
or staying busy.
Met with Carrie Mendelsworth, we had coffee this weekend.
Oh, how's she doing?
She's doing good. They're moving,
Okay.
they're moving their office.
Aren't they going to Milan?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. Let's go on and call the meeting to order. Let's start with roll call. And we'll go to my right, KJ Whitley.
Nicole Mata.
Right
Oh.
now.
Other right.
Go this way. Jen Osing.
Herschel Jackson.
Jen Graff. Melissa Overview. Andrea Moore.
Jeremy Crafton.
And also Nicole.
Nicole Mata.
All right. Well, we do have a quorum. Is there any public comment? Any public comment today? Going once? Any public comment? Going twice? Okay, let the record show that there's no public comment. Let's move on to election of committee chair and vice chair. I think Nicole wants to talk about a couple changes to the board first.
Sure. We did have two resignations. Amitra has resigned. Her spot, her term was up, it would be up in March, but she had some family matters and decided to resign immediately, which was last week. And then Christine Adamson, she resigned today. And so those will be two new open positions that will need to be filled. So we'll go through that process starting immediately. We'll send those to the mayor and take a look at the current applicants that we have, and if necessarily, open up that application process.
Okay, thank you. So Christy was our vice chair, and currently I am the chair. So we're going to open up nominations for chair. Are there any nominations for chair for this committee?
Jeremy would nominate KJ for chair again if she graciously accepts, as she does a wonderful job.
Okay, we have a first and second. Are there any other nominations for chair? Going one more time. Any other nominations for chair? Yes, I will accept it. So all in favor of that?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're going to open up nominations for vice chair. Are there any nominations for vice chair? I will make a nomination for Jeremy as vice chair.
I second.
We have a first and second. I would open it up again. Any other nominations for vice chair? Going one more time. Okay, all in favor of Jeremy as vice chair?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, well, congratulations, Jeremy.
Congratulations.
All right. The meeting minutes are in front of you. They were also emailed to you. Are there any questions on the meeting minutes? If not, looking for a motion for approval.
That motion.
Herschel, okay. Is there a second? Amanda, okay. Andrea, I'm sorry. Andrea, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those are passed. No old business. So let's get to the other business, new business. So I'm going to turn it over to Nicole.
Thank you. All right, so we have the 2026, 2027 public service applications. So I've attached that in the agenda so you can see who all of our applicants were. And the full applications are in there. So we had QC Narratives who have applied for $25,000, and that is for their current program, which is their mental health services to youth ages 17 to 29. Also a current applicant. Our second would have been Christian Care. On this round, they've applied for $50,000, and that's for staffing for their shelter. And then we have a new applicant, Prairie State Legal Services. They've applied for $50,000, and that's for legal services, low to moderate elderly. I think they had homelessness services, anyone with disabilities, veterans, or domestic violent victims. So it's a wide range of legal services, which they would need to then be directly for Rock Island residents. And then we go to the YWCA. They've requested $50,000. That's to run the Place to Be. And then the Allen's Place is supposed to open at sometime, I believe, later in this year. I don't have an exact date, but that was part of their application. As you can see, they mentioned Allen's Place, which is essentially a youth shelter. And so the Place to Be offers homeless services, at-risk youth, so it provides those services for them directly. And then the Martin Luther King Center after school and summer program is requested funding for $150,750. And then Spring Forward, they've requested $25,000 for after school programs. We will be, going through at the 15% cap. Obviously, we have not received what our exact allocation will be. So we will, be going towards the $155,000, which is the same as what our cap was for the last year. So that's what we'll be working with. So essentially for today's meeting, it's to present you the applications, for you to review them, and I'm looking then for approval to move these applicants into the next process, which would be to give presentations, and then we go through a scoring process to make a recommendation for the funding to City Council. All these applicants, based off of the requirements for the application, they meet all of those requirements to move forward basically to the next steps. So I'm just presenting these to you to discuss, ask questions, and then ask for you guys to move these forward then to the next meeting that we have to schedule the presentations and put them through the scoring process.
So does anyone have any questions for Nicole on the process here? I know that you're new, Andrea. Do you have any questions on the process? So basically, you're providing it to us now so we can review them, so when they come in and present in February, we're aware of what their application.
Yes, and the next meeting will be, you can certainly ask any questions as they give a presentation. It'll be like a quick 5-minute presentation as an overview of what the funding would be used for and the programming. And then we will go through a scoring process. I will give a recommendation to start at, and then the CDC, the commission will, discuss and go through that scoring process and come up with, I guess, a funding amount that would be recommended then to City Council.
Do you have a ballpark of what you might spend for sub-recipients?
So we, at this point, we spend the full allocation, so the full 15%.
Okay.
So we would go into funding for full amount, which based off of last year's allocation would be $155,000. So that is the target amount that we would not be able to fund over that amount unless we were, once we got the allocation and it was a lot higher than what we anticipated, then we can go back to that 15% and revisit, increasing those dollar amounts.
And has anything changed in the guidance where if they're qualified that they have to receive something? Or is it up to the board to make a recommendation to council?
Yes, it would be up to the board to make a recommendation to City Council for the dollar amount that is determined during this process. So we can't go up to $55,000. Doesn't mean, though, that necessarily there has to be a recommendation for the full allocation.
Any other questions for Nicole?
So does anybody want a question on any of the agencies, I guess, on their application? I know they kind of talk about, exactly what their funding is going to. It kind of gives an overview of their budget. We'll hear more and can ask more direct questions than what we have in front of the applications. But that's the biggest question, is just if anybody had any questions or concerns. Jeremy?
The applicants that have applied were all recipients in their last round, correct?
All of them, we have one new one, which is Prairie State Legal.
Oh,
So that would be the only new applicant that has not, this is their first time applying.
oh, okay.
So we would be having, so there's 6 currently that are in this process, where this year that are current applicants are 5. So, we have just one new applicant that's requesting funding from the previous year.
Will we be able to, at one point, discuss or have questions? I think, didn't we edit the scoring so that if they were a prior recipient, we would take into consideration if they submitted their documents on time to your department, their payout requests, and did they meet their requirements if they are a previous recipient? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I will provide that at the next meeting, like a one-pager to kind of explain, like we did last time. I don't know if you guys remember, but it basically will tell, if things were paid on, or the draws and the documents were submitted on time, what their funding is for, kind of like an overview, and if their performance measures were met based off of the last term that we have. So we couldn't go to this last year on performance measures because we haven't hit that full year yet until, what is it, July to June 30th, right, Jen? So it'd be the year before that, so it'd be like a little, I think 3 or 4 of them, I think, if I remember, 3 of them. So we would be able to provide that information for them, but I will provide like a one brief explanation of each applicant, and if they've had if they submitted reports and all that information to help with the scoring process.
Okay. Were there any applications that were disqualified and not presented?
No, all
Okay.
applications were received and accepted.
Okay.
Well, received by me and verified that they've met the qualifications to bring to you guys then to make the determination if they move forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
No, we'll need to vote on that.
Oh, we want to vote on that?
If we could, I guess if we can take a vote then for all 6 of these applicants to move on to the next steps, and indicate that you can read the next steps in the approval process for funding. So they basically will move on to the next steps, which is presentation and scoring.
Okay, so you want us to do a motion
The motion to accept.
individually or collectively?
I think for you to go ahead and if you want to go ahead and say them, that would be fine. Get it right here. Here, I'll put them on the screen for you. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'll go to make the motion, and that is a motion to move the applications for Narrative, Christian Care, Perry State Legal Services, the YWCA, the Martin Luther King Center, and Spring Forward, no pun intended, to our next meeting. And those applicants are going to be invited to do a presentation, to the board. And the board can ask questions at that time. But the motion is to move those forward for the vetting of the funding. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion passes. Now I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
I'll motion to adjourn.
All right, is there a second to that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're adjourned at 5:47. Thank you.
Getting used to YouTube.
KJ, we won't, next week, next month, we won't actually vote on how much each one gets. That'll be the meeting after, right?
Usually that's the meeting after.
We used to do the scoring and
Yeah.
the presentations.
Okay. So.
I don't know if we're still live.
continue.
I'm waiting for us to be off camera. This is my first time on YouTube.